It's Rob!
Tony!
We're in gaming!
And that's you!
Hello inmates and welcome back to the Inn. I'm Rob, of course, or Warshack if you want to call me by my in-game name. And as we know, I recently posted a video going over the top 10 best class legendaries, and now we're doing the top 10 worst class legendaries. So when I say these legendaries are bad, I mean in some specific situations on a Tuesday in May, the 4th of 1 year, one time, in one match, in one specific presentation of things on the field, yes, the cards can become good. Most of the time, 99.9% of the time, these cards are not good. So please do not get upset at me. And when you're like, oh, this one time, this one game, this card won. It's like, yeah, I bet it did. And guess what? It still fucking sucks. Wow. Okay, so heading into the cards, I'm sorry if these are your favorites or you like them, but they're bad. First one, Cho'Gall. It doesn't read to be that bad, right? It's a 7-drop, 7/7 battle cry. The next spell you cast this turn costs health instead of mana. Great. You have to have a spell in your hand. You have to be willing to sacrifice your health. And you basically have to have both these cards at the same time. When there's Lord Jaraxxus, on the other hand, which completely destroys, it's one of the best legendaries in the game. So in comparison, this is bad. But again, there's worse legendaries than this. This is just what we're starting with, folks. The Cho'Gall is the beginning point of this never-ending stream of shitty legendaries we're about to get into. I would have to say the class-specific legendaries aren't as shitty as the neutral legendaries, though. We're gonna have to add a bunch of salt for that one. So, heading into the next one, Anub. So, for rogues, Anub'arak is one of those cards which came into the game, and I actually thought it was gonna be fantastic. I liked the character, and wow, I enjoyed the raid. I did not enjoy this card. He's a 9-drop, 8/4 Death Rattle. Return this to your hand and summon a 4/4 Nerubian. So as this card looks to be decent at its home front, it being in the Rogue class makes it bad. You know why? Because Rogue does not have until turn 9 to play an 8 attack 4 HP creature. With 4 HP, this dies to a 3-drop, 4/4 Ogre Fit Brute, or whatever the fuck that card's called. So when a 9-drop could die to a 3-drop, we've got a huge issue here. Not only that, this card does nothing when you play him. He's not a rag and shoots fireballs. He doesn't even shoot spikes. He doesn't even burrow. He does nothing. He just sits there, dies, and summons another little bug, and that's still a 4/4 that can die to a 3/3. So, granted, yes, you can get this guy out of your, whatever it's called, the 1-drop, get yourself a Death Rattle. You know, you end up playing the Zoth Rogue, you happen to live till turn 10, you happen to play a noob, they happen to not, entomb it, hex it, polymorph, it happens to die, then you can play N'Zoth and bring a nub back, and congratulations, you've done, what you're gonna do 1 in 200 games. That's what I'm talking about. This is not consistent, shitty card. I'm sorry, Rogue. Cool card. Cool. It being used in competitive play is different from it being a cool card. Please understand the difference. Prophet Velen is our next card. They're getting worse real quick. Our top 5 is just shit. So Prophet Velen, this guy fits one deck, and one deck only, and that's why he's on our worst legendaries list, because you would never, as a free-to-play player, as a player looking to build competitive decks, this is never going to be a card on the list, ever. Prophet Velen is 7-drop, 7/7, double the damage and healing of your spells and hero powers. So granted, I want to play an OTK priest deck that kills my opponent in one turn. Sure, you can play Prophet Velen and you can OTK your opponents in one turn, and the deck will win. Yes, that is the only deck Prophet Velen fits in. And that's it. You can't play him in other ones. It's not like Confessor Paeltress, so you can play her in any priest deck and she'll get you value. It's one deck, one time, one specific instance. This guy is good. And that is why he's on the worst legendaries list. Not to say you can't win with him in the deck. Not to say he won't grant you value sometimes. In the pool of all Hearthstone cards, he's just not one of the better ones. Edric the Pure. What you could get from a 3-mana card, and you can actually target whatever you like, and you don't have to wait till turn 7. So, he's a 7-drop, 3/7 battle cry, change all enemy minions to 1 attack. In essence, really not too bad, but when you have cards like Ragnaros the Fire Lord out right now, it doesn't need attack to be able to throw an 8 damage fireball at your face. Along with that, this guy provides no additional support on the field. He's not a taunt, he doesn't have some magical death rattle, there's no divine shield, and there's other cards like Aldor the Peacekeeper, which is a 3-drop 3/3, does the same exact thing as him, but it only does it on one creature. But let's just say if your opponent has a field full of creatures and they all have attacks that need to be reducing, you probably have lost that game anyway. And if you're basing your win off Edric the Pure, there's some reevaluation that needs to be done. Looking to the Hunter class, we've got King Crush. If you noticed, a lot of these cards I don't even have I don't have in my collection. You know why? They suck. So 9-drop, 8/8 charge. He's a beast. He's King Crush. He's hip. He's hop. He's not now. You're never gonna play him. He's really not. I mean, he's bad, but he's Call the Wild. That's what I'm just Call the Wild. How is he better than Call the Wild? He's not. Next. 9-drop, 5/5. Your minions cost 1. Okay? So there's one particular situation which you might get value off of her. You play ramp druid, you happen to ramp quickly, you have your 9 mana, you innervate, and you can play 2 extra cards. Cool. Never seen in competitive play. Only works then. Horrible top deck. Not only do it's your minions cost 1. She's not like a Sea Witch. Never mind. I was gonna say spells cost. Fuck that. I don't know where I'm going. She's still bad. A 9-drop 5/5. Yeah, you can play 2 other creatures if you hold your innervates, but the later you hold your innervates, the worse they are, unless you have here. So you're basing off a card that you could play early on to hopefully win a game to later on when it's less impactful. Not what I want to do. Herald. Okay. We've been playing Hearthstone at least every day to every other day since the old gods. I have not seen this played one single time besides when I got it out of a lease. And it did work out pretty well then, but that's only because I had a field full of legendaries, not because I was playing against a priest and they used this card successfully. Maybe later on down the line that Herald could become useful in some specific priest deck on a Tuesday, in January the 4th, one time, 1 month, 1 year in one specific game. Sure, he could become good. Most of the time, he's just a 6-drop 5/5 that may, if you copy Sylvanas, good for you. But it means you have to play Sylvanas first. She has to live. Then you have to have this guy in your hand. And then when you play him, you float 1 mana. Fantastic. Not. Wilfred. How you doing, Fizzlebang? All right, so he's a 6-drop 4/4 card you draw from your hero power cost 0. Yes, there was a argument that you can hero power and draw Lord Draxus or Mal'Ganis or you could draw Cho'Gall. Wow, the chances that you're gonna draw one of your high drops in your deck, sure, there's 10% chance, 15% chance, but the rest of the time you're gonna draw a card that probably costs 4 or less, which is a large sum of the deck for most of the consistent decks out there. He gains no ability once he hits the field. What I look for in good cards is the ability to do something when they come out, whether it's a battle cry, maybe a death rattle, so after it dies there's something that it does that could affect the board state. But no, this guy does nothing of the sort. You pay 6 mana for a 4/4 and that's it. He's just gonna die. Your opponent's going to use a Shadow Bolt on him. They're going to use a Frostbolt Ping. There's a variety of spells that just shit on this guy. So, horrible. Anomalous. The ongoing slaughter of the legendaries for mages. Ronin wasn't too bad, but just not played as much. But Anomalous is just... Granted, he looks cool. He's got, a cool ability. His name's cool. He just sucks. I'm sorry. He's an 8-drop, 8/6 death rattle, deal 8 damage to all minions. So he's a board clear, but alright, so you play this guy on turn 8 and hopes to kill your opponent's board full of creatures. Obviously, if you're playing this guy on turn 8 and doing nothing else, and your opponent has a board full of creatures, they probably attacked the previous turn, which means you're semi-low health, which means waiting an extra turn to deal with this guy is probably you're going to lose anyway. The only time that this guy is maybe sometimes good, you playing, Control Warrior, you get him out of a lease, you have got 97 health, and you play this guy when your opponent has a field full of cards because you've run out of brawls. That's, again... specific situation, specific time, and let's say he's in August 3rd of 2015. This guy was useful. Man, Old God wasn't out then. So let's just stick to June 7th, 2016. That's when this guy was useful. All right, we've reached our last legendary. My salt has almost come to an end. Where are you? There you are. Here we are. Acid Maul, a 7-drop 4/2. Whenever another minion takes damage, destroy it. All right, I'm waiting for the comments. Well, if I combo Acid Maul with a Hound, Unleash the Hounds, I can clear the board. Wow, a 10 mana 2-card combo that does nothing. You've cleared a board and you've gained nothing. You've gained a 4/2 on the board, and it cost you 10 mana, and you're doing it with a Hunter deck. Have fucking mercy. Please, for the love of God, do not play Acid Maul in your Hunter deck. This is just it's an awful card. You know what? Some specific situations, sure, you get him out of a web spinner, and you just happen to live until turn 10, and you happen to pull off the Acid Maul Unleash the Hounds combo. That happens to win you the game once, maybe one time. That's it. You do not play him in a competitive deck. You do not craft this card. You disenchant this card. You run far, far away from this card. Granted, he does look cool. He was a fantastic boss in TOC. There's no problems with him. His effect is really cool. Don't get me wrong. This is a cool card. It's just not good. So please, when you're watching this video, take note. Cool cards and consistent cards you're going to see in tournaments that are really good are two completely different things. Anomalous, cool card, cool concept. Acid Maul, cool card, cool concept. Do they suck? Hell yeah, they suck. So please, just keep that in mind. I'm also not this salty, guys. I just get upset when I talk. Never mind. We're not even going to get into it. I am a little salty today. But anyway, these are our worst class-specific legendaries. If you have any issues with our top 10 list, please leave a comment in the section below of what you think we might have missed out on, or if we just didn't call a card as bad as it is and you would like to further explain why the card is bad, feel free and I'd love to read that. As always, guys, I'm Warshack, of course, and happy whatever the hell day it is.